You want to know why your photography isn't getting the press coverage, your products aren't getting out there the way you believe it should. There's a really easy fix. If you're new here, I'm Emma Morton-Turner. I'm an interior stylist and founder of Inside Stylists, a website where you can find all your interior stylists, writers, assistants, and photographers for your products. So I'm going to talk today about some findings that Nikki Snell from Press Loft talked about in her keynote speech at Brighton SEO, which she very kindly invited me to, or maybe I sneaked a ticket from. And it was very interesting. And I think it's really valuable for people to understand exactly what it is that is being downloaded on Pressloft. So if you've not heard of Pressloft before, Pressloft is a library of PR images that can be downloaded by journalists, interior writers. It has fashion, it has gifting, but it is a mainly interiors library of images. And the beauty of it is that you can download those images at any time of day. Once you're signed up, you can literally just download high res. You can speak directly to the PRs. It's just a one-stop shop for all your interior styling and feature needs. So when Nikki comes to a talk with all these facts and figures, you know that what she's talking about is absolutely key and really, really relevant. The problem might not be your pitch when you're trying to get your features included into magazines. It might be that your photography isn't of the level that it needs to be. And today I'm going to talk about exactly what it is that you need to be considering. So Nikki started talking about cutouts. Now, cutouts are one of the most widely used types of images that you need to be considering. Those images are used by 70% of press features. So you really need to make sure that you have them. They're really quick and easy for people to pull pages together. Maybe someone's done a real home shoot and they have a get the look page. They will have an image from the home and then a get the look of cutout images of maybe a lampshade if it's a living room shot, maybe a sofa, a cushion, a candle. It could be absolutely anything. It's also really, really key for things like gift guides. And that's not just Christmas gifts. You've got Father's Day, Mother's Day, Pet Day, whatever it is, cutouts are probably going to be the feature that you need to be considering. And when it comes to cutout shots, there's a few things that you really do need to remember. Now, this is all coming from Nikki's keynote speech. It's absolute fact. And this is that if you have a cutout, you need them to be on an absolutely white background. You don't want any kind of drop shadows. Drop shadows are a no. When she said that, I was in the audience listening to her thinking, you never see a drop shadow in a magazine. You need to make sure it's on a white background because people do tend to do grey backgrounds, and Pressloft have those statistics of the number of cutout shots that get downloaded and featured is nothing compared to the ones on crisp white backgrounds. The best way to shoot an item for cutouts is straight on or at a slight angle. Don't go for anything funky. Don't try kind of looking down on things. You need to think of it in terms of what is someone going to be thinking about. The best way to explain this is when I'm pulling a feature together for a magazine, I will pull together things that work together. So if there's funky angles, so for example, let's say I was doing a console table feature. Now I've just opened up House and Gardens and they have a whole console feature and they have cutout images that are overlaid onto a stripy background. So I think it's probably a fabric that they've used and then they've put cutouts on top. If I had those cutout images of console tables and one was not straight on, but all the rest are, that one that's not straight on is going to look a bit funny and it's not going to sit right on the page. I would just dismiss it straight away. You have to think about how a magazine or the stylist or whoever is pulling the images together, how they're going to use that image. They want it really simple. You want to be able to see what it is. It needs to really show what it is that your product is trying to communicate. Is it a quality thing? It's a size thing. You need to just really understand in one glance what that product is. And that is what a cutout will do for you. So the next key fact that Nikki talked about was that your lifestyle images need to be of editorial standard. Now, this week I have been to a number of press events and I've been talking to people behind the brands. I've been talking to PRs. I've been talking to designers. And what Nikki was talking about at the conference was exactly what these people were saying this week that I've been talking to. And that is that photography needs to be of an editorial standard. And what that means is there's a fine line between a brand wanting to get photography for their website or for their social media or for maybe they have a wholesale brochure or just a brochure or a lookbook. The photography that you have in there isn't what magazines are typically looking for to go on their pages, because what they want is to inspire. I kind of talked about this in last week's podcast where I was talking about the photography again. But this is more of a downloading, get it right post, but it's all about the feeling. You want to get a feeling from the shots, and if it's very salesy, because quite often product photography is just salesy, if it's salesy, magazines don't really want to put that in, because that's an advert, that's an advertorial. That isn't what their readers are looking for on the pages. The readers are looking for something to inspire them. They want to look for a new brand. They want to look for a new style. They want to look for something that's on trend. They don't want to look at something that is just shouting, buy this candle. They want to buy something that is saying, this candle smells gorgeous. Look at the warm glow. Look how it makes the room feel. And then the editorial will be saying how beautiful it smells. And you've got to evoke that feeling. And lifestyle photography will do that. And it's key that you have the right people to do that. Now, of course, I'm going to shout out about Inside Stylists. We are a band of interior stylists who are trained, professionally trained, to get those shots right. The editorial shot is very different from the product shot. Now, we can do both. We know how to make a product a hero in a shot for a brochure, and then literally twist it around and make sure you have a lifestyle shot as well. This came up in a conversation last night. I was at a press event last night, and we were talking about how another stylist was saying how the brand really just wants the product to be front and center, make sure it's really obvious that this is what it's about. And it's like, well, that's great. We can do that for your brochure. But if you don't do it slightly less in your face for editorial, for a lifestyle shot, you're not going to get picked up. You're not going to get featured. It is literally as simple as that. And the thing that will come from having professional photography and a stylist on board when you're doing these shoots is that stylists know how to edit the shots. I was talking to there was another stylist, two different stylists, one either side of me while we were sitting eating a very nice cheese buffet. And there was the other stylist. She was saying how the client doesn't always understand why you don't want to see the whole room. And she literally said, what I teach when I'm teaching styling is that they want to see the whole space. They want to see all the ceiling and all the floor. And that's not what your edited shots will look like. Your edited shots will crop out the ceiling, unless the ceiling is a feature. And you won't see tons of floor, because we know how to angle the camera and get the kind of the frame of the shot right to sell a product, but to make sure it's got that lovely emotional feel as well. The photographers will come in and do the incredible lighting. Stylists will come in and do all the composition. So you really want to make sure that the shots that you're doing aren't going to distract by having all the lifestyle areas around it. And that is where an interior stylist comes in. Too many commercial shots just aren't cutting it. And the interesting thing is that when I was talking to a PR earlier in the week, she was saying that it's really hard for the clients to understand that. So when the client and the PR are on a shoot, the PR is having real problems because the client doesn't see past their beautiful product. And it's really difficult. I tell you what I'm trying to say is that I don't understand why you would hire an agency or hire a PR and ask for their advice on getting coverage. They want to be in the newspapers. They want to be in the top end magazines. They want to be featured everywhere, but they're not listening when it's coming to how to style their shots. Listen to your professionals. We are here to help you get coverage. That is literally what I'm trying to say. So the reason you want lifestyle photography, really top line, is because you want to be featured on the cover of magazines. You want to have full page features. You want to be featured time and time again. You want to think about having your products appear online, because online features are prolific. It's showing your product in context. And when you are in a group of other photos that are in a magazine or on an online feature, it's just really pushing it in a way that the magazine staff, we are considered to be experts because we are trained in what we do. When someone sees something in a magazine, they think an expert has recommended it because it's been selected from many, many other products that could have been featured, but they have selected that product. Your product has been featured over others. When that then gets seen again in social media, whether it's your own website or another Instagram talking about it, that reaffirms someone's buying decision. So it's really important to have your products appear in print, in online magazines, and then socially as well. You have to have those 7 touch points. You have to be you have to have your item in front of someone a number of times. I don't know what it is with products. I should find that out actually. But I know that if you are selling something online, so say I was selling my interior styling course, I need to make sure I have touched them very slightly in a inappropriate way, but they have seen me 7 times. They might have listened to a podcast, they might have watched one of my YouTube videos, then they might have seen me on social media, whether that is on my Inside Stylist channel or on my personal channel. If they've seen me 7 times, they're going to start knowing, liking and trusting me. And that is why when they go, actually, she's mentioned that course again, I'm going to go and buy it. There will be a number, which I really wish I knew now I'm recording this, but there will be a number out there that people need to see your item a number of times. So if you're appearing in a magazine or you're appearing in a newspaper and then you're sharing it across socials and it's getting picked up for online features, then you are going to be getting sales, essentially. And it all comes from those photos. You have to get the photos right. Another thing that Nikki came up with is, I love this, it's like keeping it grounded. So, okay, I'm going to say this, I'm probably going to offend someone, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't put your sofa in a forest. Don't put a bed in a park and get people to come and lie in it. If you want to put that in a TV ad, great, go for it. But if you want to be picked up and featured, you need to keep it real. You need to put things where they belong. You need a sofa in a living room and a bed in a bedroom. Because as creative as you are and as creative as a shop would be with that sort of setting, that doesn't make sales and it doesn't get you featured. It doesn't kind of tick any boxes in the reader's eyes. If they see that, they'll just think it's a bit bonkers and a bit weird and it doesn't relate to them at all. So it's really important to keep everything in the right place. And at the end of the day, editors really want to show products in their real and relatable spaces. They want their readers to be able to view themselves on that sofa, on that bed. And that is what's getting picked up. Nikki literally said, just save those kind of arty shots for your lookbooks and for a bit of fun and to kind of, maybe it's a bit of fun for your social medias, but don't do it thinking you're going to get picked up in the magazines. It's just not going to happen. And another thing that Nikki was talking about was shooting with seasons in mind. So you might find you are shooting a sofa. In fact, this is a really good example. I know on Pressloft, I was looking for something a little while ago, and a brand came up, and when I go into Pressloft, I will look at something, and then you have the ability to look at that brand's other photography, and you can select whether you want it to be lifestyle or cutouts. So I was looking for lifestyle photography. So when I clicked that on the brand, what came up was this sofa, or this armchair it was, in the corner of a room with, I remember it had a fireplace because it was a nice little nook. It had a bit of a window coming in. There was a beautiful pair of curtains. And I remember clearly seeing it. And then the next shot was exactly the same shot, but it had a Christmas tree in it. And the next shot came in and the lighting was different. It was much brighter. So within the 3 shots that I was looking at, we had a kind of, it could be any time of year. It's Christmas, it's spring or summer. So whatever time of year I'm doing a feature for, I'm pretty much covered there. I've got spring and summer. I've got nondescript, it would fit in anywhere. And I've got Christmas. So how often do you need a sofa shot for a Christmas feature? You probably don't, but because it's got a Christmas tree in it, you're much more likely to include it than if it was just a non-Christmas tree shot, because you need both. So when you're doing your shoots, do think about adding a few extra things in. So the shot that's already set up, it can take seconds to, well, maybe not seconds, it can take minutes to just, maybe if it is a sofa, maybe you're going to change out a different throw and cushion so that you have a lighter one for a spring summer and a more, maybe a velvety, heavier throw for a winter one, and then whack a Christmas tree. Oh, it doesn't even have to be a whole Christmas tree. It could just be a wreath, maybe some bows. Think about the colours that you're using and the accessories, and just try and get as many options in as you possibly can. And tied into that, Nikki was saying, think about what the trends are. Now, trends is a contentious subject. Lots of people don't like it when we talk about trends, but trends are what's available in the shops. Trends are what you're selling. If you are a product, if you are a brand, you will be needing to know what the trends are. So if cottagecore or colour drenching or bows for Christmas are a thing, you could easily add those into an extra shot or two, and it doesn't take too long, and it will make you more relevant across a wider length of time. Something else to mention, I was very lucky. I got to attend the roundtable that Nikki was holding at the Brighton SEO conference where she did the TED Talk, where she did the talk. It was like a TED Talk. It was very good. It was absolutely packed. I didn't even mention that, actually, did I? She had 600 people coming into the auditorium, which was all it could hold. And there were people standing at the back. It was full, which was great because they weren't full for all of them. So at this event, Nikki held a round table, and it was really interesting. It was lots of brands were there, and we had some interior stylists were there, and Pip Rich, who's the executive editor of Living Etc., was there. And we were talking about just photography and social media and what people are looking for and how to get featured and kind of the things I'm talking about now. And I asked Pip if it was still the same as it was a few years ago with online features, that you do 6 features a day. If you use one product, will you use that image again? So if you've got a pink bathroom and you've used that shot, would you use that shot of the pink bathroom again? Because it used to be that once they've used it once, they won't use it again. And it may be different for other magazines, but Living Etc. is prolific. I said, you do six features a day? And I can't remember off the top of my head what he said now. I'm sure I said it last week. But he said something like, no, try 16 a day. So he said, no, we will use it again. If it's the right shot, we will use it again. So if we're doing a feature, or if they're doing a feature on pink bathrooms, they will include that pink sink. And if they're later doing another feature and it's on colour drenching and the colour theme is pink, they'll use that pink bathroom again. So it's even more important to make sure you've got the photography right, because you've got multiple chances of being featured. That blew my mind a bit, but actually, can you imagine? It must be impossible to do 16 features a day and not repeat. So get the right photography, get featured. It's kind of a no-brainer. In my head, it's a no-brainer. So the next point that Nikki talked about was giving journalists what they need. And I have to say, where I was sitting, she might have heard a little whoop, because I mean, I get 80 to 100 emails every single day. I'd say probably over half of them are from PR. Probably 60, 70% of them are from PRs sending their press releases, sharing their new products, their clients' new brand, their new events, whatever it is they're doing. And we have to skim through all of that. We can't keep on top of every single email and read every single thing. And what she was saying was, it's really important to make sure we have all the images we need in one fell swoop. So make sure you've got the cutouts, make sure you've got a portrait. Magazines like portrait images, but they will also use landscapes. Online, they'll probably want more landscape shots. They'll want a little bit of high-res, web-ready images, but they don't need it all in an email. So if you send something that's like 10 megabytes into an email, can you imagine you get 80 emails a day and they're all 10 megabytes? I use Google, it would crash every day. They just can't cope with it. It also slows our inboxes down. If it's taking ages to load, it will go out the window. So make sure that you're giving everybody what they want. They want lifestyle shots. They want cutout shots. We want a really easy way to download it. So if you've got Dropbox or you've got a Google Drive, do send a link through. Add an image to your email. And this is me saying this, not Nikki, but I find if you just send me like a ream of writing, I need to know instantly if something is going to look good on a page or if it's going to look good on a shoot. So if I can get a reference of the kind of style that I'm reading about, I'm much more likely to take notice. But that can be a low-res image on an email. If you send something that's all words and no image, I haven't got time to sit and read what you're trying to tell me. And then I'm definitely not going to be opening up a Dropbox and downloading 40 megabytes of pictures onto my disk drive just so I can go and have a look. Sorry, Nikki didn't say all this. I'm saying this. And I'm speaking on behalf of stylists, but I'm telling you, it's me that feels this, but I'm sure they do too, because I just haven't got the bandwidth. I don't want to have to download all the photos, have a look at them, decide which one's right, then remove them, then delete. I would much rather look at your Dropbox and download it directly, or have a look somewhere and say, I'd like these pictures, please send them over in high res. Just make it really easy. No email attachments that are massive. Promise we'll like you more if you do that. Another thing, I did a chat with, I can't remember, it wasn't a panel. I did do a panel. I've done 2 talks at Top Drawer with Nikki. And I remember one of them, there was a really key thing that came up in the conversation to do with email. And that is that I don't know if people realise that we use our inboxes like a search engine. if I'm doing a lighting feature, I will literally put in the top of my search bar, lighting, and I will see what press releases come up. I used to put everything into a folder, but it's just too much work. It's so much easier just to do that. So if you are sending an email out with a new light, put it in the title. Don't try and be clever and kind of catch our attention and be quirky and do that whole fun headline sort of thing. This isn't a blog post. This is keep it simple. Tell us what it is straight away. Because when we've looked at it and gone, that is a beautiful light, it's not going to fit in with anything I'm doing right now, I'll come back to this one. When I look back later, that email subject line is what is going to get picked up. Little extra tip for me there. The next thing Nikki brought up was make it easy for people to work with you. And Nikki runs Press Loft. She's going to say this, but I'm going to say it as well. And yes, I am going to give it a giant plug here. When I first went freelance, my youngest was 5 years old and I would be doing the school run. I'd only have the time of day during the school day to do features, and I was very busy. It was crazy when I first went freelance. I did a lot of written work and I could not get it all done in the day. So I would do it when the kids had gone to bed, which I have to say I loved. It was really quiet, no phones were ringing, I wasn't distracted by emails coming in. I could just sit and work. And being able to download images from Pressloft without even having to think about it, I know I'm going to find what I need on Pressloft. And by making it available 24/7 and not needing to speak to the PRs directly in order to get the image is really, really valuable. There's one thing I'd say, there's quite a few people, it's not such a problem now, but PRs are a bit gatekeepy with their products. They'll put all their images on Pressloft, but not put the prices on. So we would put the images through, but then we'd have to come back to find the price. And that is a real pain in the butt. Because if I want to get that feature through straight away, I do not want to file any copy without prices on. Now, you might think, Emma, you should be a little bit more organised than that. Back in the day, I was doing feature after feature after feature, and by having to go backwards and forwards was a real pain. I just want everything there in front of me. I think 99% of people are really good, like the PRs are really good at putting the images on with the price. But just from my point of view, put the prices on, please. So I hope this doesn't sound gripey. I kind of feel like I'm having a bit of a moan, but from the conversations I've had this week, I don't think people realise quite what goes on behind the scenes and how simple it is to get featured when you get it right, when you get the right setup, when you get the right support, when you get the stylists who know to frame a shot and make sure it feels lifestyle-y, and the photographers are there with their beautiful lighting. And just a lot of stylists come from an editorial background. I could give you 10 stylists off the top of my head who started in interiors and went freelance and can help you with your photography, because we're trained to shoot for a feature. And that is such a skill. You can make a room look beautiful, but taking a picture of that room, it's not going to look the same. It's not a case of walking into a beautiful space and just putting a camera on and taking a picture. You have to edit the choice of what you're seeing. And that is what I'm trying to get across. Now, obviously, I'm going to say, head over to Pressloft and sign up. I've got a free 60-day trial link below, so do go grab that. It will be on the show notes on InsideStylist.com as well if you would like to check it out. If you want to have a chat with me about this, I'm more than happy to help you, whether you want to talk about Pressloft. I know the blog post I wrote for this podcast, I wrote that I have been doing features using Pressloft for something like 19 years. So it sounds like I'm just kind of talking about it because it's my mate's product, but actually I have drunk the Kool-Aid. I have been using this before I ever met. In fact, I used Pressloft for something like 10 years before I even met Nikki. So I'm saying it works. And if you ask anybody who writes features for magazines where they get their images from, Pressloft is what they're going to say. So I can help you and chat to you and let you know why I think that works. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop me a line. You can contact me through the website, InsideStylist.com. If you need to get better photography, or you just are looking for an interior stylist or photographer, if you need a team to make sure you get these kind of images and they're all working, then drop me a line. I can help put the team together. I am obviously an interior stylist too. I can help you with shoots, but I can help you find other people to do shoots too. It is what we do, and I have to tell you, we are super passionate about it. Interiors is our world. We absolutely love it, and we were talking about how incredibly crazy it is that it looks like it's a really glamorous job, but half the time it feels like we're moving house every day because we're always loading boxes on and off of vans. and house loads worth of props, and we're always on our hands and knees. And I was having a whole conversation with someone about the right comb to have to brush the tassels on a rug. It's not glamorous, but it is incredibly rewarding, and we do absolutely love what we do. And when you have people who love what they do and are passionate about getting photography right, it will shine through in your photography. I've just had a real thought. I'm just going to, before I finish, I've got this photographer who I shoot with, Simon Scarborough. And whenever we get together and we do shots, I always have it in my head how the setup's going to be. And I'll say to him, okay, this is where I want to shoot, and I want to shoot in that angle, and that's what I want to capture. And I do the whole hands framing the image thing. And then he'll go, oh, okay, I didn't really see it over there, but we'll try that. We'll try it your way, Emma. So we'll try it my way, and I will always see if his way is better, because he sees it from a lighting perspective and I'm seeing it from a composition perspective. But he would take the picture and I would look at it on the screen and just say, oh my God, the light is so good, because the light in the photography is so much better than the light you see with your eyes. And it's just that. That is what you want to bottle into a photo and get people to see a shot and just go, oh, I want it. That is what I'm talking about. I'm getting totally sidetracked, so I'm going to end there. Like I said, drop me a line. I can help you find a team for your shoot. And I would love to talk to you about Pressloft if you are interested, because the more of you that get on Pressloft, the easier it is for all of us writing features. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for stopping by.